Emerging market populations are extremely youthful. Example, 50% of India's population is less than the age of 18. Let's make them adults. 60% of their population is less than the age of 30. Okay? That was the baby boom in the US back 30 years ago. Okay? You can't change age. Developed nations getting older. Europe, Japan, US, Canada, phenomenally older. We have a social and welfare healthcare cost that's increasing. And if you think about a financial statement, it's increasing our fixed costs each year. So much to the point that the systems will be pushed to the max. Right now, 40% of all healthcare costs are attributable to 3% of the patients in the US. And these patients are greater than the age of 80. Okay? 95% of a hospital costs are attributable to 5% of its patients. Okay? Emerging markets must export labor. Developed markets must import labor. There's no ifs, ands about it. I don't care what xenophobia you're dealing with. That's pretty much where the growth will come from. If all of the Latino population that left the US tomorrow, legal or non-legal, we wouldn't be able to make it. Okay, we would not be able to make it. Natural resources, because we have sustained economic growth and population increases, it's going to drive 50% increase in the demand for energy. What's all this talk about green energy? It's not bad. I mean, I would love to go more green, but 80% of the oil is still in the ground, 95% of natural gas is still in the ground. And it's concentrated where? In some of the most difficult parts of the world. You all deal with a big bear in the backyard, okay, to put it mildly. And that big bear doesn't want everyone to gang up on him at the same time. That bear wants to deal with each one of the countries individually, only to have its supplier bargaining power. Renewable energy is the real future, but it's going to take a little time. All the natural resources are stretched. They're becoming expensive. In fact, just because oil prices are down, just because commodity prices are down, doesn't mean it's going to stay down. It seems highly likely it'll go back up. Why? Because they're stretched. It's so difficult. We're dealing with, let's say, oil drilling historically has been 1 mile down into the sea. We're now going 5 miles down into the sea to extract the oil, and it's becoming more expensive. The only way you get down 5 miles is having higher oil prices, but those higher oil prices are making our business models infeasible. It makes sense to outsource. It makes sense to get rid of labor. It makes sense to even go technological. The transition is going to be expensive, though. That's really the bigger case. Renewable energy, you could say, has the same technological cycle as the internet and computer chips. As we get more and more aggressive, as more and more resources come in, as more viability shows up, we're going to be spending more money. The price of renewable energy will come down. Windmills, by the way. A windmill has theoretically has about a 55% efficiency ratio on wind. Whatever wind comes in, 55% of it could be harnessed. That's the theoretical max. And it's free, and it's renewable. And it's gonna almost be like what the internet has done to travel agencies, to airlines, to retail stores. We do everything over the internet. It's gonna put the power into the people. Renewable energy is gonna do the same thing. Utilities will have to innovate or die. And there will be less and less of a monopoly in the future, especially as the technology becomes cheaper. Technology trends. Technology commoditizes everything. Everything. I'll be honest with you all, since I started Sanskar Investments, I never bought a .com and I never bought a bank. I never liked anything that commoditized itself. Now, no offense. I mean, I'm part of the banking world as well. But technologists, they're not financially adept. The perfect example, Bell Labs, the former Lucent. The engineers over there at one point built a phone that you could throw out of a 10-story window. Great, that's wonderful technology, but who would ever throw their phone out of a 10-story window? It makes no sense. And technology is a capital input as much as a typewriter or manufacturing equipment. It's constantly consolidating, it's morphing, and it is acting exactly like natural selection. Adaptation, okay? If you look at how the fish turned into mammal, turned into monkey, turned into human, there's some real strong genetics. I was recently reading about the genetics of a giraffe. We actually have similar genetics to a giraffe. In fact, our genes are exactly like all the animal kingdom out there. The only difference is between animal and man is how long that gene is turned on for during our development. A giraffe's neck gene, for example, is turned on longer than ours. That's why they have a much longer neck. Take a look at Darwin's theories, and you can imagine how it's going to filter into the technology world. How we're morphing into even implants within our heart, titanium hip replacements that set off airport alarms. Moore's law, data density on a chip is doubling every 18 months. It kind of sounds like the speed of a child's mind. Have you all noticed that? They're moving very quickly. Sometimes so quickly we can't even control them. I don't know if that's the cause of ADD or if it's like a lack of a nutrient, but it's going to continue to do so until 2017. Expect kids' minds and chips to move at the same rate. That's my theory, at least. Science trends. Demographics are going to drive healthcare costs. No one likes paying healthcare costs. Now, granted, this is the Czech Republic. This is Europe. You all are majority socialistic. I know in the US, we pay for it out of our employers' pockets, and it's death-defying. It is extremely death-defying. We're seeing our healthcare costs go up by about 16% a year. We're still coming up with new innovations. But the flaw is, it's still a cost. Maybe because of our preference for life, we're willing to spend $250,000, $1 million even, just to keep the life resuscitator on that person for 17 years. I don't know what the best optimal position is at this point on healthcare costs and to what extent we should take it, but I can tell you that healthcare costs are slowly, albeit slowly, being viewed as an investment. We spend $1 billion a year treating migraines. How many of y'all get migraines? Raise your hand. How many of you get migraines that just want to keep you at home? They're real. They're absolutely real. We're spending $1 billion treating migraines, but the opportunity cost on our labor is about $13 billion. The average cost of an analyst per day, excluding salary, AKA our industry, the opportunity cost of an analyst not showing up to work is about $1,000 a day for the investment decisions that show up. That's scary. I understand why we work so hard. Age-related age-related illnesses, they're still going to be there. 20% of healthcare spending. We can't get rid of it. All we can do is prevent it. I live in a city called Chicago. It is the second heaviest city in America. Okay? Houston is #1, Detroit is #3. I go to New York, it's a totally different view. I go to San Francisco, it's a totally different view. It's something as simple, I went to this seminar at the Harvard Club in New York City where they were talking about the mind and memory. And they were saying that if you want to extend your memory, prevent Alzheimer's, prevent Parkinson's disease, the same prescription for maintaining longevity is also the same prescription as to keep your memory. Exercise, diet, exercise of the brain, twisting it, doing a different job every day, and not giving in to the same obsession. In other words, if I obsessed about a 40% decline in the stock market in the last 1 year, I'm going to get mental disease and age-related illnesses very quickly. I've got to keep my mind a little different. And it's going to be rising in the future in developed natures. There's no way we can avoid it, but we can slow it down. Healthcare cost reduction, prevention and detection. Medicine and therapies must be commoditized. It must be. There's no way. There is absolutely no way we can afford a pill of $10, even in our current medical system.